God does not break rules or laws. He said, I have exalted my word above my name. That means God has positioned himself not to break his word. He has positioned himself in a place where he does not want to break his word. That is what it means. And in order for God not to break his word, God cannot be involved in matters of the earth without human consent or without human involvement. Human beings will have to involve themselves before God can operate, so that God will be legal. That is why, go back to the garden. When the intruder was deceiving Adam and Eve, God was watching and listening, but he couldn't interfere. He couldn't. He left it to them to decide whether to want to stand on his side as God, or they want to go with an intruder they don't know, somebody they have never seen, somebody they have not heard of, somebody God has not told them about. This is the area of the lack of knowledge. Adam and Eve lack knowledge. That how can we be dealing with somebody we don't know, somebody we have not heard of, somebody we have never seen, somebody our Father God has not told us about? This was enough knowledge. If they used, they would have saved the matter. So God did not interfere. God waited. As his usual visitation time, when he visited, they were nowhere to be found. Then he asked them, where are you? Then they said, we have heard you and we have gone to hide. He said, why? As if God doesn't know. Until they voice out the why. Then God said, why did you do that? You see, this is a clear evidence that God does not interfere in the affairs of the earth. Why doesn't he want to interfere, or why doesn't he interfere, or why can't he interfere? These are three levels. Why didn't he interfere? Why doesn't he interfere? Why can't he interfere? It is because when he completed the project, he handed over to man and said, have dominion. He did not say we should have dominion. He said they should have dominion. They are who? The human beings. So God has no dominion over the earth. He has dominion over the earth through man. That is how we should get the understanding. That is why somebody will take knife going to kill somebody. God will not stop that. But if God gets somebody who is ready and is aware, God will use that person to stop that attack or murder. That is why he made it clear with Ezekiel, which is written in Ezekiel 22:30, that I sought for a man to stand in the gap. This is complete evidence that he will not do anything until he finds another man or woman who is ready and available to stand in the gap. Then God can use you. That's why the world is in a mess. Of course, he said, when I sought for a man, I found none. That he didn't get anybody. Now the question goes to, why didn't he get anybody? Whereas there are human beings roaming about, including even Ezekiel himself. It is the qualificational standard. It's the qualificational standard that is difficult. Because you need to understand his plan, understand his program, understand his layout, understand his law, understand his constitution, understand how God does things. That is why I have taken time to show you why God will not interfere, will not want to interfere, cannot interfere. These are some of the qualifications you need to have or know. Things will change if people are available for the change. When the enemy wanted to wipe out the whole earth with famine, God has to search till he found Joseph, a little boy who was ready to qualify, who was ready to pay the cost, who was ready to learn and qualify. So God used him. God said, I sought for a man. Are you ready to qualify? Are you willing to qualify? Are you ready to pay the cost that is involved? That's why some of us are paying costs. 11 years since I discovered the concept of the kingdom, the truth. 11 years has come. Sometimes I ask God, why do you want me to do this work? And then you are not ready to fund me. I need financial power. I must be financially capable so that I can move to places all over. Because you said this gospel of the kingdom, this is the true gospel. What has been preached all over the world is fake. It's not the gospel.